There's a level of expectation that they have that is just not realistic.
The entertainment world just got flipped on its head. Disney just dropped a bombshell. They're scrapping all future live-action remakes. This comes right after what insiders are calling the Snow White meltdown. The backlash? Brutal. And it started long before the movie ever hit theaters. Once those early reactions leaked, the whole thing exploded. For years, Disney's been cashing in on nostalgia, turning animated classics into live-action hits. But now, even they've hit their limit. There were whispers that Snow White was in trouble, but no one saw this kind of chaos coming. Fans were already skeptical. Then a viral rumor dropped that Rachel Zegler had been detained after allegedly snapping. At film critics, the story spread like wildfire, and it only poured fuel on the fire. Hardcore Disney fans were already fuming that the remake had flipped the original story upside down. What should have been a magical reboot turned into a full-blown PR nightmare. People weren't just disappointed, they were angry. The drama around Snow White spiraled fast, especially when test screening feedback started leaking. Audiences said the pacing felt weird, the tone was messy, and the whole thing came off more like a lecture than a fairy tale. Instead of wonder, people felt like they were being talked at. Online, the backlash hit hard. Commentators slammed the film as preachy, joyless, and totally off-brand for Disney. "This ain't the Disney I grew up with." That one post said it all. And honestly, that was one of the nicer takes. Even Bob Iger and Rachel Zegler tried to do damage control, asking fans to be open-minded. But by then, it was already too late. Even the die-hard Disney faithful, the ones who always show up for every remake, started walking away. That shift? It was the red flag Disney couldn't ignore. What once seemed impossible is now reality. Disney's pulling the plug on live-action remakes. Insiders say the Snow White fallout shook the company all the way to the top. Behind the scenes, execs went into panic mode when they saw how bad those early screenings really went. People trashed the editing, slammed the plot jumps, and said the whole thing bulldozed over what made the original special. Every new complaint just made things worse. And every time someone tried to defend the film, it only poured more gas on the fire. Backed into a corner, Disney's treating Snow White like a painful lesson they won't repeat. Now, they're in full-blown damage control. No more gambling, no more risks. Not when their brand's legacy is on the line. So, it's official. No more live-action remakes of their animated classics. That's right. The reboot era is done. What started as whispers has now turned into a massive internal shakeup, and insiders are calling the decision historic. Disney's never made a move like this before. For years, live-action reboots were their cash cow. Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Lion King. Even when critics rolled their eyes, those movies made bank. But Snow White? That's the one that broke the formula. Now it's the cautionary tale haunting the industry. A modern twist that tried too hard to be different and ended up alienating the people it needed most. And the damage? Brutal. Disney pulling the plug shows how deep the fear runs. They're not even willing to take a shot at potential billion-dollar reboots. If the vibe feels even slightly off, right in the middle of it all, Rachel Zegler. She became the lightning rod for everything. Fans who were already on edge zoned in on her interviews, and they did not like what they heard. Then came the viral storm, a wild rumor that she had a heated face-off with critics and got detained after an outburst. Whether that ever actually happened didn't even matter. The rumor took off like wildfire. And it didn't just trash the movie. It made people think the chaos behind the scenes was worse than they imagined. The drama wasn't just fiction anymore. It was reality, and it all exploded in today's social media war zone, where one misstep goes global in seconds. Twitter blew up. TikTok flooded with takedowns. YouTubers dropped 30-minute rants, dragging every decision made on the film. This wasn't just bad buzz. It was a full-blown digital takedown. People weren't just annoyed. They were confused and furious. The writer's biggest gripe? The story got tossed aside, in favor of messaging that felt shoved in. Fans said the film ditched the magic just to tick off modern checkboxes. And this time, Disney couldn't just shrug it off by claiming it was just a few loud voices. The backlash wasn't loud. It was everywhere. And the test screening feedback only made it worse. Insiders say the movie started out with potential, but things unraveled fast. Viewers called out choppy scene changes, weird mood swings, and an overall vibe that just felt wrong. Then came whispers about last-minute edits and frantic reshoots, like the whole production was scrambling to fix a sinking ship. This isn't the Disney we grew up with. That was one of the nicer comments. Online, the takes got way harsher. Even Bob Iger and Rachel Zegler tried to calm things down, asking fans to stay open-minded. But it was too late. The damage was already done. Even die-hard Disney loyalists, the ones who usually support every remake, started turning away. Test screenings made it worse. Word leaked that the film had promise early on, but unraveled fast. Viewers described it as clunky, tonally weird, and just off. Rumors of rushed reshoots and last-minute edits only fueled the sense that the production was spiraling. What started as a beloved fairy tale ended up feeling like a half-baked mess trying to please everyone, and satisfying no one. When the final cut dropped, it didn't even feel like a Disney film. Even fans who defended The Little Mermaid or Cinderella said this one was just broken. The pacing was jarring. The messaging felt overwhelming. And slowly, Disney started losing its most loyal defenders. That was the turning point. The usual crowd that defends Disney no matter what? They flipped. They posted harsh reviews. And once the online mood shifted, things went downhill fast. Word of mouth soured. Experts predicted a massive flop, both in money and in brand trust. And then came the shocker. Even people who never criticized Disney joined in. Brutally honest. No sugarcoating. That was the moment executives realized this wasn't just a controversy. This was a crisis. That's when the big decision came down. Shut it all down. No more live-action remakes. But here's the thing. The problem went deeper than just edits or weak dialogue. Fans couldn't even agree on what the film was trying to say. Some were angry it rewrote a classic. Others said it didn't go far enough. It was caught in the middle, trying to do everything but delivering nothing. And then came Zegler's response. She defended the film, said the critics didn't get it. But every time she spoke, things got worse. Her comments came off as dismissive. Fans felt ignored. That only added to the tension. Then the meltdown rumors hit. She clapped back at critics, but it didn't connect. It just felt like she was fighting, not listening. Disney tried to stand by her, praised her for believing in the film. But by then, the meltdown narrative had taken hold. Nothing they said could change it. And now Snow White wasn't just a movie. It was a full-on disaster. Bob Iger tried to smooth things over. Greta Gerwig stayed silent. Insiders whispered that she was frustrated with how things went. The whole thing started feeling like déjà vu, just like past controversies where Disney brushed off criticism. But this time, it wasn't trolls. It was the loyal fans doing the dragging. And that flipped everything. And deeper fears started creeping in. Had Disney's live-action magic finally worn off? One flop after another. And fans began to ask, has the golden formula dried up? Hardly anyone saw this coming. Not even the haters. While some expected Disney to quietly bury the movie, no one expected the nuclear option. An official announcement shutting down all upcoming live-action reboots. When that news dropped, it was like a lightning bolt. Disney waving the white flag. Indeed, their long history, a move like this is rare. Yes, remakes like Jungle Book and Maleficent proved the model can work. But this time, the risks outweighed the rewards. The potential profit wasn't enough to justify the damage sources say multiple projects, some already deep in production, were axed immediately. Creative teams were left scrambling. This wasn't just a delay, it was a full stop. For a company that made billions reimagining its own catalog, this is massive. But what really made it hit different? It proved how powerful the audience is now. There was a time when YouTube rants and Twitter threads didn't matter. Now they shake studios to the core. And if loyal Disney fans say they're out, that's not a PR problem. That's a loyalty crisis. And here's the thing. This all might have been avoidable. If Disney had just blended the new themes into the old story with a little finesse, if they'd balanced nostalgia with progress, not crushed one with the other, maybe this wouldn't have blown up. Instead, it felt like two clashing movies. One charming and classic, one modern and overstuffed. That imbalance exposed what critics now call one of Disney's biggest creative failures in years. Even the studio's PR couldn't spin it. When they implied that real fans would understand, they just poured salt in the wound. Longtime fans didn't stay silent. They posted detailed breakdowns of what went wrong. It wasn't trolling, it was heartbreak. Now, Disney's next move could define the next decade. Some say this is a chance to pivot. Focus on original stories, bold ideas, clean slates. Others say they'll play it safe with sequels and spin-offs. But Snow White? It's now a symbol of what not to do, a warning for the industry. And, yeah, it left a trail of collateral damage. Greta Gerwig, tied to a project that spiraled out of control. Rachel Zegler, one of the most polarizing names in Hollywood right now, this is bigger than just a bad movie. It's Disney walking away from the strategy that defined its modern brand. Whether you loved or hated the remakes, Snow White changed the game. It proved something big. Fans have power. Real power. When they feel ignored, or when a studio misses the mark, they speak up, loud, and they get results. That's the wild ride we just watched unfold. So, if you made it this far, hit like, drop a comment, and share it around. We want to know, is this the reset Disney needed, or just a massive missed opportunity? Let us know what you think, because trust us, this story, it's just getting started.